This is my story. I came from being helpless, and now through the science, through doing all kinds of physiological, so-called impossible feats, I just say, but what I can do, anybody can do. You just got to go look for it. You got to go and step out of the comfort zone behavior to get out of this conditioning. And then you see we got so much more solutions. And that's what the professors and doctors in the hospitals will not do it. We have to do it.
Hey, real quick, before we get into this incredible guest, here's the giveaway for today's episode. We're going to give away MAPS Anabolic. This is the program that started it all. How can you win? Here's what you got to do. Leave a comment in the first 24 hours that we drop this episode. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Do all those things, and if we like your comment, we'll notify you, and you'll get free access to MAPS Anabolic. Also, we have a sale going on all month long. We have a bundle of workout programs that we put 50% off, and then we have an individual workout program that's 50% off. Here's what they are. So we have a starter bundle, which includes MAPS Anabolic, MAPS Prime, and the Intuitive Nutrition Guide. Okay, so all of that is 50% off. Then we also have a program called MAPS Split. This is an advanced bodybuilder style body part split routine. So it's high volume. It's for experienced lifters. That program is also 50% off. So if you're interested in either one or both, go to mapsfitnessproducts.com and then use the code MAYSPECIAL for the 50% off discount. All right, very excited about today's episode. We interviewed Wim Hof. This guy is amazing. Now, he's a Dutch extreme athlete. He got his nickname, the Iceman, by breaking a number of records related to cold exposure. Using cold, hard nature as his teacher, his extensive training has enabled him to learn to control his breathing, heart rate, and blood circulation, and to withstand extreme temperatures. Here's some of the stuff that Wim Hof has done that has been documented. He's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in shorts. He's run a half marathon above the Arctic Circle barefoot. He swam underneath ice for 66 meters. He stood in a container while covered with ice cubes for more than 112 minutes. Now, this all sounds crazy, but over the years, scientists have subjected him to various experiments with the goal of unraveling the secret behind his method. Here's the craziest one. In 2014, scientists injected Wim Hof with an endotoxin, and he showed he was able to control his sympathetic nervous system and immune response. In other words, this endotoxin, which is all but guaranteed to cause a fever and a strong immune response, did nothing to Wim Hof. Now, they chalked it up to Wim having special and rare genetics. So here's what he did. He had some of his practitioners do the same exact experiments, and the results were remarkably the same. No fever and no immune response. Pretty remarkable stuff. Now, this episode, we talked to Wim about all that and much more. For example, a lot of people don't know this, but his wife committed suicide, and this is what drove him to discovering a lot of these training methods. It's also what drives him to bring this message to the world. He's a remarkable individual. He's hilarious, very entertaining. We know you're going to love this episode. We've heard you on a lot of other shows and seen some of your documentaries, and you have such incredible insight and wisdom, and what you've done, you've had by yourself, you've had a tremendous impact on the health and wellness space. We've all been in the health and wellness space for well over 2 decades, and it's like you came onto the scene and in a very short period of time had a very strong influence. And oftentimes when you find somebody like that, when you listen to their story or you go into their story, there was an event that really took them to the point where they just studied and obsessed and innovated and were able to discover things that had a true impact or massive impact on future generations. And you have a story like that. And if it's okay, I'd like to hear about that a little bit, because I think that's it's an important part of who you are. You're so driven, and you've had such, like I said, a huge impact. But that all came from a terrible moment, a travesty. And if you don't mind, I'd like to hear about that a little bit and kind of how that got you to do what you do.
Yeah, sure, of course. If a mother kisses her kids, in the middle of the night and then jumps from 8 stories down, then we as humans are not able to understand what that terror must be. That is a person who loves his children but cannot bear the terror which she had no control over in her head, that makes her decide, I have to quit life. I cannot live in this body because something else is living there. So since then, brokenhearted, no money, and with all the love for my children and the love of my life gone, I was left behind. What do you got to do? You cannot think, you cannot lament, you can't indulge. You just have to find ways to energetically be papa and mama, to create a new nest, to have all the energy to take care of their sorrow, of their pain, of their daily life, of the daily life itself, which goes fast as a train. And if you don't latch on, you lose it. There in those situations, you find solace if you only love enough, if you only have passion enough or enough purpose. You find ways which are in normal life not existent, because you are not driven as much, you are not passionate as much, and you don't need it. You are in this conditioned lifestyle, and it's all okay, more or less. But then when the shit happens, we don't know what to do. And now my wife, she was not able to be treated by the existent psychiatry, and she took her life. Well, she was a beautiful woman, lusty for life, and then that in the head happened. And then we are able to go to the moon and to Mars, and we have all the technology, yet we have no control over our happiness, strength, and health. And it all started from that most black, deepest black, heavy, entrenched situation in my mind. And I had to find ways. It's being broken, or you're gonna be stronger. And for that, I found the cold water. The cold water is where you don't think, where your emotional agony suddenly has a moment of where it is able to stop, because you got to face the danger of the icy water. And that made me able to heal in those moments. And I could feel it, not think about it. I felt relief of this emotional agony, which is it's physical. And I brought it home as a person who had stillness, who had a lot of energy, because of icy water makes you have all the energy. It's all logic now, but back then I had no words. I had to do something. And then the breathing was able to bring me deep into myself and to process my trauma and deal with that. And I come out. My wife, the tragedy is still there, but we not only learned to live with it, all of us. Now we are helping tens of millions, probably hundreds of millions of people, and I'm going to change the world. Why? Because I will bring autonomy, which is not in existent psychiatry, which is not in the hospitals, it's not in the politics and our systems. Autonomy given by Mother Nature itself. I found it. I found the keys, and I'm going to give them back to the rightful owners, and that means every person of the world. And I will do that through podcasts like this, through BBC series. More series are coming. Hollywood film is coming. More science is coming. Because where all this society is lacking in is that what makes us as humans who should be the most beautiful thing, beautiful minds, beautiful creativity, the way we can build things so beautiful. But trauma not solved will make people like Hitler. They kill 6 million Jews, and now Russia, it's happening with the Ukraine, and then Syria with these children. They are born in the war. They don't know even what peace is. They cannot feel. Where is the sanity in the people that Mother Nature gave us the birthright and the tools to be happy, strong, and healthy, and to be able to pass it on in our families to our children, and from there, war, goodbye, disease, goodbye, depression, goodbye. That's what this podcast is about. That is where I came from being helpless, and now I'm so powerful that I have, through science, gained wisdom that is not in the books, but we change the books. We bring the capacity, the human capacity, by birthright to be happy, strong, and healthy. That means happy is hormones, serotonins, dopamines, cannabinoids, endorphins, power. The power system is the adrenal axis, how to control that. We all showed that in science. And then they injected us with the bacteria, which in science, and let me tell you, I don't know your first name, by the way.
Oh, I'm Sal, this is Adam, and this is Justin.
Right on. It is just in Adam that we find the cell. The cell is the salt. That was a paying medium in the times of the Romans. We go back, man. We go back, but we rise now and we say, hey, it's bloody ridiculous that we have a system where so many people still get sick. So many people still get depressed. Where's the quality of life? We are able to maintain all that. And we're going to shake up the foundations because it has to. This cannot go on. We have seen COVID last 2.5 years, how helpless, how crazy these restrictions. For what? In 2014, we showed how to bring down inflammation. Inflammation is the cause and effect of every disease. And of course, they did not take even scientific evidence, scientific evidence that inflammation for the first time showing drastically to go down within 15 minutes. That should have shaken up all the medical world, but it is so entrenched in that people become sick, they become dependent, and you can make your money. It's a sick system, and we got to shake this up. It's like a bat full of dust. You got to shake it up. We got to refresh it. The people in power of wisdom or knowledge, they have no natural real wisdom because we are all equipped. All of us, the elders, should be equipped with the knowledge to bring our youngsters all into the light. It's darkness now, and it's confusion, and it's heavy, and it's not nice. And so here we are. This is my story. I came from being helpless, and now through the science, through doing all kinds of physiological, so-called impossible feats, I just say, but what I can do, anybody can do. You just got to go look for it. You got to go and step out of the comfort zone behavior to get out of this conditioning. And then you see we got so much more solutions. And that's what The professors and doctors in the hospitals will not do it. We have to do it.
Wim, talk a little more about the skeptics and when they injected you with the bacteria, and then even after you overcame it, that they did that with what I think it was 12 of your subjects. So tell us a little bit more about that story, because I think that's so fascinating.
So, and they tripled it now. There's a new study. They tripled the amount of people, and the same great results. So until 2014, it was not considered to be controllable at will by humans to control the autonomic nervous system. That is the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. They're giving gas of the action and peace. Those pedals, the brake and the gas in our body was considered to be uncontrollable at will by human will. And then suddenly, and because we cannot control the immune system, because they are related to the autonomic processes in the body. But if you have control over the gas and the brake in the body, that's the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, then suddenly you are able to activate deeply the immune system. And then, of course, they didn't believe it, but they tried it on me first. And then they saw me doing something which 16,000 people could not. That receiving an injection with the bacteria, making people, 16,000 people sick, all of them. And then I came and I absolutely not sick. So then they said, but you are the Iceman. Only you can do that. I said, no. I trained. I went out of my conditioning. I went out of the comfort zone, and I activated deeper systems within me, more than we are schooled in our modern society. That's all I did. And I can train it to show it to anybody. And first, of course, they did not believe that, but I kept on talking about it, and then they said they were convinced to do a comparative study with 24 people, 12 people who were not doing the training of 4 days, and the others, they did the training for 4 days. So 12 people did the training and 12 people did not. And the 12, after 16,134 people all becoming sick, suddenly 12 people absolutely, after the injection, did not become sick at all. And then they looked inside the blood, where normally when you become sick, you see a lot of inflammatory markers. Those are cytokines, they're responsible for making you full of fever, nausea, headaches, in that endotoxin experiment. But now 12 of them, they saw in the blood the inflammatory markers, the inflammation, the cause of the disease was not there, or drastically down within 10 minutes. And that they never had seen. It was that is where we shook the foundation of our medical understanding of what we as humans are capable of related to disease. Disease is inflammation. All diseases. The question is, can we bring it down with natural methods? And I say, and science is saying, yes, 100% yes, that it will be taking time to be implemented in the world, in global healthcare, is because of this, that it will take, it's not there, they will shove it away, because you don't want to lose your clients if you make money of them. It is a sick system. So showing that experiment, that research, published in the best of scientific papers in the world, and it's now commonly known in the world, but it is not being spread through the governments because they are all into the money. Money, sickening power, are dependent on people being sick, being dependent on them. It's like the sick wheel that has to stop. Because where was their power against COVID? Nothing. They can do nothing. They can have us wear masks that are filtering our breathing inside with CO2. And the 1.5 meter distance is isolation of natural behavior. To touch each other is, we are social beings. Our hormones, oxytocin, is dependent on touching each other. That is neurology, energy, by which we flow inside. They completely neglected science, and they came up with absurd kinds of regulations and restrictions, while we showed in 2014 to bring down inflammation. COVID causes inflammation in the body. They should have taken on these breathing methods and going into the cold and talking about it, but they didn't because of this, because of power. And that's why we are in. But I tell you, Sal, we are winning. We are getting to the common sense of people now that we actually need to go back to Mother Nature, not the government. We need to learn to govern ourselves. And therein, we can change our neurology and become aware that we are actually in control over the hormonal system, immune system, all the systems inside. It's nothing more than logic that we are that way built from our birth. And now we are bringing it to the people. And yes, that's what we do. That's where I came from. And now I can talk. Just before this, I was talking to the top of Google. They also got, I'm going to give them a session because they are suffering from the same isolation, stress. They have deadlines. They have to make billions. Google is the medium for the information in the world. I will get them to work for the course. And the courses were in the future where we love life, where we are powerful, where we beat disease, where we are happy and strong. And how does that work? And that needs to be passed along through the Google machines, information. And I will be talking with those guys and having dinner. I don't care about the dinner shit and 5 stars and 10 stars. I want 1,000,000 stars of the universe. Here and now, I want to know my soul. And I know all the science.
Yeah.
I was a nitwit. I was a dropout from school. But I talked to so many professors, and they tell me, Wim, I give lectures all over the world, but you know more.
Yeah.
Those are professors telling me.
What you've discovered is so amazing. And I want to go back to the origin of this whole thing and really find out what led you to the cold water. Like, is this a practice that was in your family or generations, or is this just something that you were just drawn to?
Yes. When I was 17, I was drawn. You know, sometimes you do things on a hunch. I was a thinker, lot into philosophy, debating inside, and that you become a little bit a nerd kind of a person into all kinds of philosophies and all that. And then, boom, I'm not really a nerd. I'm a person who tries to find ways, and then at a certain moment, you don't know anymore because you are too much in the knowing. Real knowledge is not knowing, it's being fully there. And that made, when I felt to go into the water, I got that feeling of this is it, without words. And that spiritual, powerful feeling came to me. And since then, and this is like 46 years ago, I have been doing this all the time. And I must say, it is genius. It must have been a stroke of genius to go in and to stop this hamster going on, the thinking, and all what you learn and what you're talking about. I was training with Alistair Overeem, MMA fighter, and he came to me like 7 years ago, and I told him, when he told me, maybe I'm getting too old. And so my trainer said, my coach said, yeah, I have to talk with you. I said, yeah, no. I always say hey, I don't care how good you are, I make you better. So listen up. And he began to listen, and those eyes were on me then. And that's cool, because I know what I'm talking about. And he began to do exactly what I was saying with his breathing, with the cold. And a week later, I got a telephone of him, and he said to me, like so confident, he said, I'm going to win. I'm going to win, Wim. And he won one match after the other, flawless, until he got to the title match with Stipe. And I was there. And then that afternoon, I was in his dressing room and all, and I said, let's do a bit of this breathing. And he could only do 35 seconds of retentions. Then I thought,
Oh, no.
don't think you are there. Be there. And this was later. And now I'm training him again. He came back.
Excellent.
I said, but now he is 42. But now I say, now he's listening. And he feels better than ever. He's going to be a world champion in September. There is the match with Rico Verhoeven, who's the present world champion. And he says he's doing the breathing now for 3 hours a day. And he feels so clean. And so the fatigue is completely gone. Yeah, he is sharp like a razor, and so his confidence is totally back on. And this is after,
Wim,
okay.
huge fan of his, by the way. I had no idea, so that's really cool. You know, earlier you were talking about the pandemic and how we were treated and how people responded to that. That must have been very challenging. I know it was challenging for us. We're in the fitness space differently than you. But just watching people not take control of their health was very challenging for us. So I know it must have been challenging for you. Did you have any students or anybody that you worked under you who contracted COVID who used your methods to make themselves
better? I had people who had myocarditis. The heart inflammation inside the heart.
Yeah.
And that can kill people. But they completely healed. Well, you know what happens when you do these breathing techniques? It's not only that it is bringing down the inflammation, it's also flushing 5 times more blood into the brain and heart. It's amazing. This makes the heart so much stronger. It's like a car that breaks down during the winter, the battery, and you need road help coming. Then boost your battery, and then you're able to go again. But with the heart, that it means a heart attack. In this case, if we make flush 5 times more blood into the heart, you boost the electrical currents of the heart. And it's the future of cardiology. We are doing the study right now with 600 people. They got all the results. It's being processed. It's going to be published. We got it. And for people with long COVID, because it attacks the endothelial cells, which is for the transmission of fluids inside the body, very important. If they are inflamed, then nothing can go through, and you drown in your cell. It drains your energy. It's logical. So to bring back to come back from long COVID, this is possible because we have found ways not only to bring down the inflammation, but to restore to the plasticity in the body, to restore through the plasticity of the body and make it consciously invigorated consciously on the level of the mitochondria. Mitochondria is energy. So we are able to bring more boosting up the mitochondrial activity, by which we get a lot more energy than we need for our maintenance of our bodies. And that goes directly into plasticity. So we heal. We heal rapidly. And this was all unknown. And of course, if you say things like this then they will say, no, this is misinformation. You cannot say this. But let me tell you now, Sal, I am with Google, with the top. I'm going to do it through these big companies. And Dorsey, who is the Twitter guy, he was my friend. He is doing the method. We will change the world. We will bring ways you cannot buy. You can only obtain by which you get the most valuable of life. And that is your happiness, your strength, and your health.
That's awesome.
And we got to bring it.
Yeah. I was wondering if you could explain to the audience what those breathing techniques entail, and also, like, how did you come up with that? Was it taking from other methods that were previously there, or is this just something?
No. If you go into the cold, first thing you do is
Mm-hmm.
you learn to breathe deep. Breathing deep means you bring nurture into the depth of your physiology past your conditioning. The cold is merciless but righteous. It brings you back to who you are and what you are. Past whatever you think. Your whole of your body is activated, is in flames, is being tortured at that moment. Or you adapt, or you, it's too much. That's what it is. And for that, it needs the whole of the body. And what then happens, automatically you begin to breathe deeper. That's where it started, with the cold. And then I began to cultivate deep breathing while being in the cold. I could stay so long in the cold without sensing the negative impact of the cold. And that made me powerful through the breath. And then I began to separate the breathing from the going into the cold and just do the breathing exercises at home. I saw all the lights of all the chakras, all the mysterious and how do you say, mystical appearances they talk about in all those books. I saw them all. Became boring. So much. That's why I say fuck enlightenment. Fuck enlightenment. Bring happiness, strength, and health to people who need it. Heal the people. And that's what I'm doing now. I take people out of their darkness, because darkness is created by not being light. Light as being, and light, the neurology, the electricity in the body is not working because of being sluggish through our so-called comfort zone behavior. And then taking on more stress, and we don't know how to deal with that because we are never been schooled in primary school what it is to be happy, strong, and healthy. History, yes. Mathematics, yes. And language. How about the most important in life? Happiness, strength, and health. And being able to do that without the aid of anything, just to be unconditionally, fully in your soul. And the soul is radiating like a flowing river, and all the life creates by itself. That's why we think rivers are much more beautiful than all these channels. These come up out of our mind. Productivity, yes, but nature, the unconditional love of life and the beauty, where is it? That's where we come in. So going back to the simplicity of the breathing techniques, it is so simple for any who is watching this, listening. It is so simple, but because it is scientifically fully endorsed, it shows that it is also very powerful and very accessible for any person in the world. We have neglected the most valuable of all, which is the life force itself, coming through the breath. Learn that you are built to be able to feed all the systems inside, and then your mindset should be, I should be in control over my happiness, strength, and health, because the rest is bullshit.
Wim, you've been doing this now for, I think, over 40 years, and the science is starting to come to support all of it. But I imagine during this time, you've been surrounded by skeptics. Who is the most skeptical person that you've seen transform that you've met?
No, that's a good question. First of all, skepticism is a sort of mental state that doesn't want to believe. It does not want to believe except for what it thinks based on the facts existent. And that becomes a conditioning. And that conditioning can overtake a person, and then it remains skeptic forever, even when the truth is revealed. They stay in this conditioned state of their mind. And so I have science changed fundamentally, but still the majority of doctors, they don't take it on as a truth, though it is factual. So they are stuck in their skepticism. They are stuck in this so-called thing called medical paradigm, and they are not open to a venture for more. Maybe the medical paradigm is not necessary if we look better inside of ourselves. But then they have to sacrifice all what they have learned, all their position, all their cars, all the golf clubs, all the escort girls, and whatever they are doing, they got to give it up. They cannot. So they will always deny. And that, looking at skeptics in my life, I got a lot of people coming now, great people, great thinkers, and they even get the top of Google now, and they don't come just like that. Huh? They only come when they see that this is going to be the future. And the future is where we will bring all the skeptics around. You don't need to be skeptical if you got the truth. And the truth is to be happy, strong, and healthy. A happy man doesn't go to war. A happy man is not into possession. A happy man is simply there. He doesn't need to be skeptical. So skepticism, I've been finding that the first 25 years of my practice, I was being the loco, the crazy man, the idiot. Don't link with him. He is strange, and things like that. And then I came in connection with television, And then that skeptic said, now the same people would laureate me, would hang on, would say, oh, Wim, can I make another photo? Oh, you're great. Oh, you're just, with other words, they like to lick my ass. And I say, don't do that. Because I didn't wipe it.
Wim,
Killing me.
okay, you've got a ton. Anybody who's seen any of your documentaries has seen all these crazy feats that you've done. What do you think was the most challenging or the scariest for you?
Yeah, there are many. And, you know, every time you do a record, you are the best of yourself. You are a little bit afraid. Afraid means that it doesn't go as you think, as you feel. I've learned to do that, to stay open. Because if you think, like with the Alistair Overeem story, if you don't think you are there, be there. So you stay open. Then when you climb without gear, steep rocks, as I did, then you have to see, even without seeing it with your eyes, with the sixth sense. Sixth sense exists. Oh, I've been showing that in brain scans and all. But you see the rock without looking at it. You see it. You see it coming. In time, space, you go past time, space. You will make, you can learn to trust that sense, and you make just a move, just boom! There goes a rock while you are climbing without gear. Even a little rock, it just get you totally out of balance, and you fall off the rock and you're dead. I've been doing that so many times that I know that. But so I came that time, I had to do the rehearsal for the first time. I went for, say, 60 yards swimming horizontally under the ice. That was my first record under the ice. Later, I did it longer in distance, etc., but not that day. And that day, I was into the rehearsal. There was nobody there. There was a diver, but he was on top of it. And because it was not the official record, so we don't need to control as much. So that was their way of thinking about it. But me, I was there, and I said, I'm going to do the full distance now, because tomorrow I got to do it. I'm not going to do the half and see, oh, that was nice, I can do it. I know how to swim. Hey, fuck, man, you don't know what is happening within me. I want to do the whole distance, so tomorrow I can be at ease. So I did that. I did the breathing, so deep breathing. That means going past the conditioning, charging up the body, cleansing the body in the depth. That's what I did. Then I went in. Then the last 10 breaths. You fill up the last resistance, biochemical resistance, and then you take the you go down vertically to go under the meter or the yard of ice. First, you have to go vertically down, and then you start to swim horizontally. I had no goggles on. And because I had no goggles on, my retina, my cornea froze, and I couldn't see more than a blur, because we are no SEALs. I trained to SEALs, though, in Pearl Harbor. But that's another, they were talking to me. They were not real SEALs. Real SEALs do,
Right.
Not them. They were just nice people. I had a great time with them. Thing is, I'm not a SEAL too. So after 35, 40 yards, my retina froze. I couldn't see. And at that moment, you don't think. You are not thinking. You instinctively keep on. You can't breathe. You can't stop and say, assess the shit. Oh, I can't see. Where am I? Is this? It's just icy water and ice in the night. It was a lifeline, but I couldn't see. No, there was no lifeline. That it was. I could not see. Simple. And I kept on making my strokes because I had trained in a swimming pool before. I needed to do 42 strokes to get to 60 yards. Every stroke was perfectly measured, and my physiology makes 1 meter 20 centimeter, which is say 1 meter 1 yard, 1.5 yard, something like that. That is one stroke of me when I go full. Yes, your stroke probably different. Thing is, I had it calculated the distance. I needed 42 strokes, but at 28 strokes, I lost it, the sight. And then at that moment, you don't think, you just go into survival mode. This is the reptilian brain. The reptilian brain is not about thinking. It's just being. And so I kept on. And subconsciously, you keep on counting. And when it was 48, that means 6 more than 42, which I had measured. At that moment, I got back into consciousness, thinking. And 6. I had to go 6 that way. Imagine, after you did 65 yards, no, 70 yards, you go 6 strokes that way, like 9 yards that way. Nothing. 6 that way, 6 that way, 6 that way, 6 that way, 6 that way. I did like double the world record distance. More. And then the visual perception became this big. It's the blur was still there, but now only this big, very close. That's the tunnel vision before you die. And then somebody grabbed me, the diver, because I had been too long under the ice. He dove, he got me back. He brought me back to the second hole, which was 60 yards. And coming out of the water, there I conquered our concept, our fear of death itself. Just, it happens in a moment. Boom. That moment, that experience, that is like life-changing. It's much more than a world record. It's a life's lesson. And from there, I've been challenging my body and my mind always so much, but I trust. Because through the breathing, through going into the cold, you learn to acquaint with the internal neurological networks, the 6th sense, 7th sense, 8th sense. And then you are able to go into the full power, 100% of your brain. 100%. We have shown this now. Before, I did not know. Now I showed in brain scans. We are able, through these techniques, to alterate, to heighten 100% neural activity inside the brain. They had never seen that before. And this happened in the best of brain scans of the world. So it's all science. But when you are before scientific research, evidence, and all, you got to trust your gut. You got to trust your intuition. And that's what I did naturally by going past our conditioned way of thinking and feeling, being. And that is going into the cold. The cold does the magic. It brings you further, even further than what is written in the books. That's why I'm changing what is in the books. And I say, hey, what I can do, anybody can do. It's no secret. It's just what I found in nature. I'm here to share. It's not mine. It's great. And it's for everybody. So that moment, where I lost the fear of death and found a absolute new, deep understanding of what life is. Our soul is indestructible and unbreakable. So you don't die. How about that? You know, but do people really grasp that? No. Why not? Because they haven't fully realized, fully manifested, like a baby in the hands. There is nothing wrong with the legs, but the neurological pathways are not set. That's why it's not able to walk. We have not been schooled to exercise and practice to develop our internal neurological networks that makes us understand what is the consciousness of and the perception of what is the soul, what goes past time and space. This is only a part of our brain, is time and space. There's also where time is suddenly gone, timeless. The soul is timeless. And past the time means you are able to see into the future. You can regulate what has happened in the DNA of the past, which is connected. The DNA is connected to our ancestors. There's only logic. It's all there. And we are now able to enter and to embetter it, to heal our ancestral wounds of past lives, who are now connected as spirits, man. You cannot see them, but they are there. And they are there waiting for us to take autonomy within ourselves and to bring, through the love, the power to heal the past, the present, and the future. Because I want to be the man who is able to guarantee happiness, strength, and health for my children. Not only for my children, for all children in the world.
Wim, what you talk about counters massive, massive industries in the world. I mean, you're talking about billions of dollars or trillions of dollars of industries in the world with long
trillions, yes,
long histories of their own research and theories and applications. So it's no small feat. I did want to ask you though, because you're known as the Iceman, but you've also done things in the heat. I think you ran in the desert, in the hot desert for really long distance without taking a single sip of water. Is there a difference between withstanding the cold and the heat in terms of how you deal with it or how it affects your body? Or is it all, in essence, the same? It's just a challenge and you have to overcome it with the same or similar types of tools and methods?
That's it. It's a challenge. Our mind is able to regulate, say, the stress, which could be cold, but also heat. Heat is also part of a possible control of us at will over the temperature mechanisms inside the brain. And they say the cold is like emotion, and heat is like emotion. All that, the emotions, the deepest of our brain is controllable. And with that, whatever is the challenge, you are able to regulate your mood therein to maintain control within yourself, to even in the most of stress. And that I've been showing in Detroit in fMRIs, how to go into that part of the brain where you are able to regulate your mood, even when stress is happening. You stay calm and nice because the body then is doing what it needs to do to inoculate the stress. The stressor could be cold, could be heat, could be bacteria, virus, negative emotions, whatever stress it is. In the end, it is always cell biological stress. And then it affects our being, our well-being. And the question is, can we alter the cell biological stress to not become negative, deregulating our systems inside? And there I say, yes, And then it is like any other challenge. Take on the challenge, because the challenge is to how to find your soul, how to find 100% control over your mind and your body. It's there. Science has shown. And of course, the trillions of dollars and euros and yens or whatever currency they use, they don't want the people to become independent. They want them dependent so their cash flow keeps on going. It is a sick system and it needs to stop. We got now the neurology of the mind been shown in brain scans and blood proof that we are able to control so much more. And with that comes autonomy. So my adversaries, my so-called enemies, they are not my enemies. They are just into a wrong paradigm. And I say happiness, strength, and health for the families in the pharmaceutical industry, but also your neighbor, also you, also me, everybody. It's our birthright to take on the control we are born with. And that's what I say. And if I come across enemies because I'm just telling the truth, I want to share something that is good for everybody, which doesn't cost money. It's simply there. If I make that wisdom shareable, then and they come and they want to kill me or this or threaten me, then I say, come on, this finger, I challenge this finger by hanging 23 and a half seconds just by one finger in between two hot air balloons up a mile in the air in winter, and you lose dexterity. Not me. This is what I got for them then.
It's a strong finger.
For the enemy, I got this.
Wim.
For the enemy, also I got a great message. I can make you happy, strong, and healthy. Something you cannot buy. You want it? Okay, come on, let's talk.
Wim, how old is your human body, and when was the last time you were sick?
Yeah, I'm 63, and last month I was like going into the ice bath on my birthday, 63 minutes, and enjoying it. I was singing. I'm older, but I'm fucking strong, man. I'm sorry. It's what, yeah, you know, when you go into the cold, your tendons become so strong. So I get all these strong people, and they say I've got the strongest tendons because if I get two dumbbells of 10K each, like 20 pounds each, I can do like 1,000 times like this. I just keep on going because I control the tendons. The tendons provide the acetylcholine, which is the neurotransmitter for performance. And I just keep it alkaline. I control my breath and it keeps on going. And they cannot do it. Shit, man. So when was the last time I was sick? I'm sick of that question.
Yeah, boom.
That's all.
I love it.
I just don't. If I become sick, I'm vulnerable like anybody because I've got a body. But when virus comes or bacteria or negative thoughts, nah, man, just breathe, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Well, I got a question for you before we wrap up. I was wondering, I've actually seen this personally because I did one of your courses, which was radical, it was transformative. But when people went through the breathing process, there was a lot of these emotions that came up when they got to this state. And I was wondering if that was any tie with old memories or anything with the fascia, or if you found anything in that direction.
Oh, yeah, no. And I'm doing the studies with the DNA researchers right now. And it shows that we get into the genes, and genes can be locked up, gene expressions, and they can be locked up because of trauma. And we had no capacity to de-traumatize, to unlock those genes from those proteins. And now we are. So when we go 3/4 of an hour into this breathing, then people get into the DNA. They get into these locked up gene expressions by which they de-traumatize. It just goes, it gets out. It comes to the surface. You are able to process. I do a series. I just did a series with the BBC, 12 of them. And in the second one, there was, for example, a woman, a BBC presenter from sport, former gymnast, Olympic gymnast, and all that, and always very poised and in control. That's the way they know her in Great Britain, on the television. And there, in that breathing session, she began to cry, and then afterwards, with 200 people production, BBC filming, 10 big cameras upon her, she told her what happened. Well, when she did the breathing, what happens, what is locked up in our DNA is also becoming visual when you process it. And she, at that moment, she saw her brother who had died when she was 19. She is now 51. When she was 19 and her brother was 15, and the whole family had like a picnic at home in the garden and all. And he was a Liverpool upcoming new talent to play football, so highly sportive. And he died of a heart attack in the garden. And then they were all present. So that traumatized that family all their lives. It's like, and she named it like you live. It's like you live without one arm. You gotta learn to go bypass, because the trauma will not leave you, and it will always have a deep impact on your consciousness, on your being. And so, but in that session, she processed it. She felt it's okay. She saw her mother vividly, face, 3-dimensional, through the breathing, her child, and her brother. And she was like different, enlightened, processed. So we are able to experience traumas in our life, but the thing is, they should not be hidden away, locked up, influencing us for the negative. We should be free beings and being able to process. We will never forget. We will always love. And that is what you do if you love life. You live it for the other as well. But you cannot if it is hidden. And in our schooling system, we are never taught how to go into the depth of our body and to gain control over that, what we need to process. Because in the itinerary of life, things happen, man. When the shit hits the fan, you should be able to cleanse yourself and to go on again. Now we found the keys, and this is what we give through being here like this. Together, we bring it on for those who need it.
Wim,
Love it.
What you're teaching and what the people who follow your courses say counters medicine, mental health, the pharmaceutical industry. They're very powerful industries. Have you been threatened with lawsuits and legal action? Have they come after you in ways that are just besides, calling you a quack? Because at some point, I think they have to acknowledge some of the studies that you've been a part of, and your customers or your patients have been a part of, or the people who learn your processes have been a part of. I can imagine that. I mean, I know they play dirty. I see what they do in politics all the time. Have they tried to come after you in other ways, legally, for example?
I think they are so arrogant that they keep on going with their power system the way they do it. up till now. And I tell you, that hierarchic system that is living on people's dependency and people's not knowing how to govern themselves, I'm going to break it. I'm just telling something honorable, something noble called love. I want to share it with the whole wide world, and to bring something you cannot buy and you cannot possess ever through power. That's what I'm giving to you. That means I'm offering the people in politics, in pharmaceuticals, in the industries, in the murdering, whatever is going on with wars and all. I offer them one thing: just breathe and go into the call, and you will learn that you are able to possess the power to become happy, strong, and healthy unconditionally. I'm no threat. They are threatened by something else, by their own fears, and they know it. So what I do, you can't possess air. And cold, man, just shut down the radiator and you get cold. Or take a cold shower a day keeps the doctor away. It's so simple what I do. But the knowledge I have is simply showing that we are at the new dimension of the power of our unlimited power of our mind, and to be able to unconditionally love life. And that is an experience. In Syria, these children, they don't know even what is peace, because they are born in the war. 11, 12 years, they don't know what it is. So the thing I do, what is the greatest of threat here, is that I say our minds are ready to control our brains 100%, by which we get a control over our brain, which is connected to the unlimited power of the mind. And it's there. That's what I'm saying. And I say it through medical and scientific evidence-based facts. So that's all I'm doing. And they can't ever threat that. Possibly they will try to play dirty, etc. But I say fuck fear. I live to live, man. Yeah. I don't live to serve fear. I'm stronger. Love is stronger. If you are in love, nobody can stop you.
Excellent. Excellent.
Awesome. Wim, thank you, brother.
This has been great. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
You're an amazing guy.
Thank you very much.
And you guys are great to have me on your show, to bring this on, to let me talk and about this way. I thank you very much, because your work is great. Keep on going strong, because we got to rise and bring some happiness, strength, and health to the world. It's time.
Let's do it.
Appreciate it. God bless, and keep doing it, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Yes.